Hey, I'm Matt. I'm headed to work, and I'm gonna give my thoughts on the. Wasn't really a brawl. I've seen worse brawls in football, but the fight between the offensive line of the Steelers and Garrett. Yeah, sure. Hop right over. And Garrett of the Cleveland Browns. Okay. And I want to start off by saying anytime someone takes someone else's helmet off and uses it as a weapon against someone without a helmet, there's no place for that. There is no place for that. Okay? There is no place for that. One thing, pushing and shoving and even throwing punches at someone that's wearing a helmet. Yeah. I mean, really? That, that's kind of football. Pushing and shoving, maybe a little wrestling going on. That's part of football, but no place for taking someone's helmet off and using it as a weapon. Okay. Now that I've said that, let me get on to my thoughts. Okay. So, it's the end of the game. Last play of the game. Mason Rudolph has yet again lost to Baker Mayfield. And Garrett comes in on one of the cleanest and softest hits on a quarterback I have ever seen. Not only does he tackle him, but he twists his body so that Rudolph lands on top of him so that he does not land on top of Rudolph, because quarterbacks are made out of glass in the NFL and you're not allowed to tackle them and put any body weight whatsoever on top of them. So it was a clean textbook by the rules of the NFL tackle on Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph starts throwing a little hissy fit that he has yet again lost to Baker Mayfield, a Baker Mayfield-led team, and he starts grabbing at Garrett's face mask and trying to rip his helmet off, which, as we know, Mason Rudolph doesn't have grown man strength, so he could not get the helmet off. But Garrett, that dude's a grown-ass man. He proceeds to pick Mason Rudolph up off the ground by his face mask and remove his helmet with an offensive lineman grabbing hold of him. So Garrett, grown man strength. Mason Rudolph, preteen girl strength. Okay. Then, with two guys on him, Garrett realizes, oh, I have his helmet. Let me try to put it back on his head. So he takes it, and if you notice, he hit him with the open part of the helmet. He was trying to say, here, let me put your helmet back on you, little girl. And then Mason Rudolph, the person who starts the fight, puts his arms up and turns around, trying to act like the victim. You started the fight, yet you're going to act like the victim when you get retaliated upon? I mean, Garrett was just trying to be nice and put your helmet on you for you. He's like, dude, you're on the football field. You need this. And so Mason Rudolph puts his hands up and acts like a victim. And then offensive lineman tackles Garrett in the end zone, and Pouncey gets on top and just starts throwing punches. And he realizes, oh, crap, this dude's wearing a helmet. So he then gets up and starts stomping Garrett out. Starts stomping on him. And this time, another defensive lineman for Cleveland comes up and bumps Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph drops to the ground like he was just kicked in the face by a heavyweight UFC fighter. Drops to the ground. Okay? I mean, he looked like Patrick Beverly when Patrick Beverly gets breathed on in the NBA. I mean, just crumpled and fell on the ground when he got touched from behind. Okay? Mason Rudolph And then in the post-game interview, he starts talking about how there's no place for fighting and blah, 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 blah. Myles Garrett was way out of line. Da, da, da. Doesn't take any responsibility for starting a fight. And then today, his agent comes out and says that they're looking into legal action for a fight that he started. They're looking into legal avenues to pursue legal action against the guy for retaliating for a fight that you started. If you're going to act hard and do hard shit, you're going to get hard consequences. Okay? Mason Rudolph, football is a grown man's game. Football is a grown man's game. Okay? You can't be your little boy shit in football. Alright? And you throwing your little hissy fit because you got beat by a Baker Mayfield-led team yet again. And for those of you that don't know, Mason Rudolph is from Oklahoma State, little sister to Oklahoma. And Mason Rudolph lost yet again to a Baker Mayfield team. So he started whining like a 12-year-old little girl who her boyfriend that she was in love with, and he was the one, broke up with her at 12 years old, started whining and crying in a grown man's game and got grown man consequences. Okay? Mason Rudolph, stop acting like a child. Take responsibility for the fight you started. Okay? Take responsibility for the fight you started. Sorry, there's a cop on the shoulder, and there's a new rule in the state of Oklahoma that you have to slow down and get a lane, at least one lane's distance between you and any blinking lights. So, but yeah, Mason Rudolph, don't act hard. Don't do hard shit. Don't try to be hard. Don't try to front like you're hard, okay? Because you're not. That's why you went to Oklahoma State. You know what Oklahoma State is? It's Oklahoma Light. It's not even Oklahoma Light. It's like a light strawberry wine cooler. Okay? Grown men don't even drink strawberry wine coolers. Okay, that's for women. And you're a light version of that at Oklahoma State. Okay? Oklahoma is a bottle of fine aged whiskey. That's what Oklahoma football is. Okay? You went to the light strawberry wine cooler school. Yet you want to act hard? No. Mason Rudolph, you're not hard. Okay? And if you're going to do grown man shit, and you're going to be big and bad enough to start something, be big and bad enough to own up to it. Those are words I live by. If you're big and bad enough to do it, you're big and bad enough to say you did it. So, Mason Rudolph, you started that fight. You getting thumped upside the head was the consequences of your actions that you started. Okay? Now, should Myles Garrett, I believe it's Myles, should Myles Garrett be suspended indefinitely? Yes, I believe he should be suspended for the rest of the season. And Pouncey, who was stomping Garrett out, got a 3-game suspension. Yes, he was kicking him in the helmet, which is the most protected part of the body, So he was just letting him know, hey, you can't do that to my quarterback. He got a 3-game suspension. Yeah, I believe that's fair. The lineman who grabbed hold of Garrett and slammed him down and threw a couple forearms, he got a 1-game suspension. Is that fair? Yes. Should Mason Rudolph be suspended? Yes, he should. He started the entire thing. He started throwing a little hissy fit, a little whiny hissy fit like a toddler, just like a toddler who wanted a green cup and got a blue cup instead. He started throwing a little hissy fit because he lost the game lost yet again to a Baker Mayfield-led team. They tried to act like a grown man and start a fight, and then turned into a little girl. I know one thing: if somebody hit me upside the head, I wouldn't put my arms up and turn around. I know that. I would not put my arms up and turn around if somebody just hit me upside the head. Okay? I wouldn't do it. You know why I wouldn't do it? because I'm a man. I'm almost 40. That kind of goes along with the school he went to. You know, I'm a man. I'm almost 40. I served 7 years in the Marine Corps. Somebody hits me upside the head, I'm not putting my arms up and turning around. Okay? You do grown man shit. You start grown man shit, you get grown man consequences. Okay? And you got thumped upside the head, and then you stood there with your little hair all wavy to the side and talked about how it was just ridiculous. And then you and your lawyer are seeking legal action for something that you started. No. Okay? No. Alright, well, that's my thoughts. Mason Rudolph, little girl. Later.